Alright, not only is this expensive lens Not only is the lens itself really expensive, we have a $300 carrying case, we have ND filters, $300 a pop, Pro Mist filter, $500, and a close-up filter, $500. And to attach these to the lens, you need a matte box for another $1,000. So yeah, this, before you're even shooting, you're spending several thousand. And the lens itself costs about $30,000. So it's not a cheap lens by any metric. It's a anamorphic lens, as you probably figured by the crazy sums we're paying for it. And it's a Lomo Square Front 35mm t2.4. So it's quite fast to be this old. The lens is actually from the 60s. It's from 1969 and it's built in the Soviet Union. Yeah, that's how old it is. Well, yeah, actually, the lens itself isn't fully from the 60s. As you can tell right here, it's actually quite new. It looks quite fresh. It has this nice 0.8 mod gear rings for controlling the iris and focus. And as you can tell, it's very smooth and very modern. The original one, which I've actually personally never used, had some sort of dual focus and it was very tricky to use. Now, obviously, in today's environment, with the demands that is put on shooters, we're usually focus pulling ourselves in smaller shoots and things like this. So having dual focus and spending a lot of time and moving, it just wouldn't work. It's rehoused by a company in California called Optitek. And it's actually quite funny because I think the lens is made somewhere in Western Russia or Soviet Union, I guess. Then at some point it's made its way over to the US and now it's back almost to where it was made originally here in Finland. So it's kind of funny how it's traveled across the world and yeah, now it's back here with us. Now, why would you rehouse or even care about a 50-year-old lens? Well, simply because we like the look. A lot of us actually. There's a huge community on Facebook and on a lot of other sites of people that like these. It's such a good thing going with fourth take. Fifth time's a charm. There's a huge community on Facebook of people who like these old lenses and like the look. It's a characteristic you can't really get anymore. Somehow a lost art, so to speak. There's no new lens that you can buy that looks like this because you made them differently back in the day somehow. I actually haven't studied the history, but when I look at the image this lens produces, I really like it, and I like how it's a bit softer than these super sharp Sigma art lenses that we also shoot on. Now, these old lenses, they're definitely not neutral. They have actually less contrast, and especially along the edges, this lens in particular is very soft. If you're shooting it wide open at t2.4, you'll actually only have a sharp section in the center 50% of the screen. Everything else will basically be blurry. So it's a tricky lens to shoot with. I normally shoot it at t2.8 or t4, depending on the scenario and the amount of light I have to work with. So that's also a trade-off you have to keep in mind. It's just a different look basically, and that's the reason why I bought it. And it being anamorphic, that's a big thing too, because it's a lot wider than normal 35mm, because everything is squeezed 2 times. Now, I'm not really sure what this equates to in full frame or millimeter terms, but it basically means that you can get a lot closer while the lens still acts like a 35mm. This means that the background is a lot more blurred and everything just basically looks different. It's the anamorphic look. Yeah, I'm a big fan. So basically, for me, this lens is 100% worth it. It fits perfectly into my quest of, well, basically making new modern videos that look like movies, basically. It's a perfect fit for me, and yeah, let's roll some B-roll of me shooting with it so you can see what it looks like and if it would be a good fit for you too.